Hello, welcome. We're live here in the Digital DJ Tips studio with another show today looking at the question of DJ software. And we're asking, is DJ software too expensive? We're talking about how much money you're expected to spend above and beyond the cost of your DJ gear in order just to get DJing. We're talking about how things have changed and where all this might be going. So why are we talking about it now? Well, I was chatting to my friend Mojax about this little unit that I've got here somewhere. In fact, I don't know what I did with it. The new Numark NS4 FX, it's over there on the shelf. And I really liked it. Nice mid-price Serato DJ controller. And Mojax was saying, yeah, but if you add on the price of Serato's software, if you want the real software to go with it, it becomes like $800. And I'm like, whoa, does it? And I went and checked out the price of Serato software now. And he's right. The price has gone up quite a lot, especially if you want the stuff that people expect from DJ software nowadays. So then I started having a look at the other software and reassessing the cost of all the other software out there. Rekordbox is subscription only. A lot of people don't like subscription, but if you want the good version of Rekordbox, you've got to pay a subscription, and that's not cheap either. Virtual DJ has never been that cheap. And then you've got other options out there as well, that some are more expensive than others. So your DJ software could cost you a lot of money. And especially if you're buying a cheap DJ controller, let's be honest, something little like this here, which is the Numark, this is actually the Platinum FX, the more expensive of the two. There's also a Mixtrack Pro FX, which is cheaper than this. And there's also little DJ controllers like, you know, this one here, the little Pioneer DDJ 200 and stuff. Some of these cheap controllers, they really don't cost an awful lot of money, but some of them, when you add on the cost of the DJ software, it can actually double the cost of the controller. So for all these reasons, we are looking today at DJ software. So I'd like you to firstly watch on and enjoy the content we've got for you. Let us know your thoughts, because at the end of today's presentation, we will go over, as always, to the community, and we will talk to you guys and girls about what you think about the price of DJ software. Is it too expensive? Is it about right? Is it too low? Are they underselling themselves? And should they put the prices up? You tell us. And so that's what we're doing today. By the end of it, you'll have a much better idea. And if you're not a DJ and you're thinking, why do DJs even need software? You know, it's a fair enough question. And so we'll be looking at that as well. So let's start by looking at that. Why do DJs need software? After all, if you're using two turntables and a mixer, you don't need software. You never needed software to spin on vinyl like in the good old days. So why do you need software now? Well, you know, you don't. If you want to use professional DJ gear, you want to go into a professional DJ booth and use Pioneer CDJs, you don't have to use software, because you can just get a USB device. Of course, you can put CDs in them. Some of them still take CDs. Or you can get a USB device, plug that USB device in, put a load of music files on it, and you can DJ directly from there, no problem. So it's not like you have to use a piece of software to DJ from at all nowadays. And also, if you're using gear like this piece of gear we got here, the reason we got this here today actually is that they've just released an update for this, a free update for this. This is standalone DJ gear, and this doesn't need a piece of DJ software running on a laptop in order to work. And if you want to use gear like this, again, you might use the software that they provide for free to prepare your music so you can search it nicely and the waveforms all look nice and so on. But you don't need to then use software for DJing with, and you don't have to pay for that software currently anyway. But if you want to DJ with DJ controllers, like most of this stuff I've got around here. So this is a DJ controller. This is a kind of higher end DJ controller, very typical kind of thing, this kind of thing, all the stuff I've been showing you now. If you want to DJ with DJ controllers, if you want to DJ with DVS is using control vinyl like this to put onto turntables and then control your DJ software from that. You need to use DJ software in order to do that. So a lot of DJs do need to use DJ software. So if you need to use DJ software, what does it cost? What are you going to be paying for your DJ software nowadays? And this is the eye-opening experience that I had, you know, because it's been a couple of years since I've looked around figuring this stuff out. So we've already covered one thing. If you just want to prepare your tunes and DJ off a USB on Pioneer CDJs or on Denon DJ Prime 4, Prime 2, Prime Go SC6000s, or indeed this kind of thing, this kind of standalone gear, including other gear like this, the Pioneer DJ, XDJ RX3, XDJ XZ, and so on, you don't have to pay anything. The software that lets you prepare your music to do that don't cost you a thing, which is great. If you want the full experience of DJ software though, the full flavor, the full strength, full power package of the big DJ platforms, it's going to start costing you a lot of money. So for instance, Serato, to get a decent version of Serato, just buying it off the site, $299 up to $399. Or you can buy a subscription, and the subscriptions are actually quite reasonable compared to some of the others, between $12 and $15 for that kind of thing. If you want to go with rekordbox, you can't even buy rekordbox off the shelf. It's going to cost you between $9 and $30 for rekordbox a month. If you want to go for Traktor, it's $99, that's it, down. $99. And if you want to go for virtual DJ, it's $299 or $19 a month. Finally, if you want to go for Algorithm's DJ Pro AI, which is a Mac and iOS bundle, it's going to cost you $49 a year, which is like $4.16 or something a month, something like that. So quite a cheap option there. So various options there for the price of DJ software. It's worth pointing out that some hardware unlocks DJ software. So for instance, you buy one of these, this is a Roland DJ 707M, and I always forget because in the old days, if you like, they gave you a license key when you bought an expensive piece of DJ hardware, and that was put into the system to unlock your hardware. Nowadays it's hardware unlock, and that means that the hardware is recognized by the software. Really, nowadays, that's the way it's going. And the problem with that is that it's great because if your hardware comes with everything you need and it unlocks the DJ software, that's fantastic. Until you want to use your DJ software on another piece of equipment that doesn't have the hardware unlock, and then you're back to square one. So if you want to use the full DJ software on any equipment you might come across, even if you've bought a hardware unlock device, you still need to buy the software. And all DJ gear from this tiny stuff upwards does come with DJ software, but again, it isn't going to be the top full strength version most of the time, especially with the cheaper gear. It's going to be a cut down version, and Serato is the notorious one for this. You get Serato DJ Lite when you buy most Serato controllers below like $700-800. You get Serato DJ Lite. This is a typical version, and then you're going to want to buy that software to upgrade it. And as we've already found out, it is not cheap to buy off the shelf. About $299 for a decent version of Serato. So what do you get for your money? And this is where it gets interesting, people, because all DJ software is not made the same. Now, I'm not here to give you the lowdown on which software is best. That is not at all what this is about today. This is purely about the cost, but the way they price the software up does vary, and that is something I want to talk about today. So let's look at the way they price software up, and let's start with Serato DJ Pro. So Serato DJ Pro, if you are just coming from basically nothing, a light controller, they'll sell it to you for $199 or $999 a month, but that isn't the version you want. The one you want is $299 or $11.99 a month. This is the one that gets you Serato Play. That means you can use it without a without a controller if you want. Serato Effects, of course you want the effects. Flip, which is pretty cool, but pitch and time is something that really should be with all DJ software, certainly any pro DJ software. And that basically makes it sound good when you alter the pitch of the tunes, or when you keep the tempo the same and alter the pitch, or keep the pitch the same and alter the tempo. All other DJ software won't charge you separately for that. And for that to be included here and not here, I don't know, you wouldn't want this one here. And then if you want to use DVS, which you've already looked at, this is the control vinyl and stuff, or you want to use Serato Video, well, then you're going to be paying more. Then you're going to be paying $14.99 a month, or a massive $399. Now, there's various other options. So if you've got a hardware unlock device, you can pay a little bit extra to get other bits and pieces. But look, to buy outright, we're still looking at $299, $399, and so on. So Serato is not cheap. Let's move on to rekordbox. So rekordbox, when you buy a rekordbox controller, you get basically this. One of these is pretty good. There's no such thing as a poor version of rekordbox. It's a lot better than the light version of Serato. But if you want to then get creative, and it's actually called creative, and unlock all the extra stuff like video sequencer, lots of special effects and video and DVS and so on, then you will be paying for that. And to get the creative version, it's $14.99 a month, no paying outright. Now, you can go for a year payment there and save the usual, like pay 10 months, get 12, but that is the price there for the creative plan. And for the professional plan, and this is where one of the nuances is with rekordbox, you're paying a massive $29.99 a month or $300 a year. But this includes an unlimited Dropbox account, and you get lots of cloud features there as well. You can store all your music in the cloud, all your own music in the cloud, and access it from any enabled Rekordbox device. So it's got some extra features on there that basically mean if you're a Dropbox user, you don't have to pay for your own Dropbox anymore. They're kind of paying for it for you. So that's why I'm saying it's worth looking at the nuances of these accounts, because they all offer slightly different stuff. That said, Native Instruments, easy. $99 for Traktor, $49 for your upgrade. Traktor doesn't have a lot of the features of a lot of the other software nowadays. It's kind of fallen behind a bit, but very simple pricing there. Virtual DJ, always been expensive. Again, you can see they've gone towards the subscription model. By the way, Serato, gone towards subscription. Look, subscription is a big thing with Serato now. It's not buying outright. That's a big change there. Virtual DJ done the same thing. $299 if you want to buy it outright. That said, I bought my Virtual DJ outright. I think it probably cost $199 when I bought Virtual DJ, which is probably 2004. They've upgraded it every year ever since for free. So it was a good deal, and they've always done that. You can never promise they're going to do that in the future, but that's the way it's always been with Virtual DJ. But not cheap. And finally, DJ Pro AI. This is for Mac, Windows, Android and iOS, but we would only recommend this nowadays for Mac and iOS. The other versions are falling behind. This is very, very powerful software on Mac and iOS, and it costs you $50 a year, but you get the same software for both phones, iPads and Mac for that $50. So quite a good investment if this is the platform you want. It's very powerful software as well. So that's kind of what you get for your money when you invest in DJ software. But as you can see, this stuff ain't cheap. So all right then, if that's what you get, the next question is DJ software worth it? It's a good question, right? Look, DJ software has brought us so many things. It has brought DJing forward in leaps and bounds. It's given us unlimited libraries. It's given us key sync, beat sync. It's given us cloud music, video, studio effects, multiple decks on one controller, even on a cheap controller, like 4 decks, 99 decks on Virtual DJ, believe it or not. Samplers, sequencers. You can chop up your music in Rekordbox. You can make on-the-fly edits of your music in Serato. There's lighting control. You know, the R&D, research and development for this kind of thing is not cheap. And so it's got to be paid for. And if you are happy with what you get from your DJ software, if the cost of your DJ software kind of justifies all these things that you're using and you're enjoying about it and you're thinking, wow, this is so much better than 2 record decks, then yes, it's absolutely worth it. Whether you've got a subscription, whether you've purchased it outright, if you're feeling the value of all this stuff, then yes, of course it's worth it. But if you don't see the value, that's when the problem comes in. So look, if you don't see the value in the DJ software and you're not using these things, it suddenly becomes very, very expensive, doesn't it? So I wanted to talk now, before we kind of move on to finally talking about where we think all this is going, just about a few ways that you could save and make your money go further if you are someone who, you know, does think it's a bit expensive, all this. So the first way you can save is simply by using standalone DJ gear. This is an example. Again, I've only got this one set up because they've just released an update to it today. We've actually got a video on that. They've updated the effects on this, the MixTrack Pro from Newmark. So if you're interested in that, go look at our video. But anyway, this is a standalone piece of DJ gear. You don't need anything other than a USB drive plugged into it with your music on. This will not cost you anything for the software to run. So if you don't want to keep paying for software, subscriptions, updates, whatever, then hey, get yourself DJ gear that doesn't need software, or rather that uses software that's free. And this, the Pioneer stuff, as I was talking about, is all like that. You could actually DJ with a free piece of DJ software. There's a piece of DJ software out there called Mix, M-I-X-X-X. It's totally free, it's open source. Yes, you'll jump through a few hoops to get it to work. Yes, it won't have all the features of some of the bigger platforms we've talked about, but it's free. Also works on Linux, which none of the others do. So yeah, it's another thing you could do if you want to save a bit of money on this stuff. Consider getting a hardware unlock device. You know, I mean, the example I've got here, I'm not even sure if this is hardware unlock or whether this just came with a serial number, I forget. But anyway, most modern, like for instance, if you buy a Pioneer DDJ 1000 SRT for Serato, it'll be hardware on lock. And that means that when you plug it in, you get a pretty good version of the software with it. Check what you do get with it, because you still might want to pay for expansion packs or additional stuff to make the software do everything you want. But a hardware on lock device that unlocks a version of the software that works for you could be the way forward, because as long as you're happy using that device or other hardware on lock devices, you probably never have to pay for the software unless you want to use it just on your laptop or with a controller that doesn't unlock it, of course, as we talked about earlier. When you're pricing up cheaper controllers, so again, here, the examples I've got here, well, the example I've got here is a little Numark controller for Serato. When you're pricing up cheaper controllers, especially for Serato, because Serato DJ Lite is not very powerful, make sure you factor in the cost of getting the version of the software you like. If you buy a $299 Serato controller and you want the full version of the software, you're going to be paying the same again just to get that software that you want with it. So you'll be doubling the price of the unit. And look out for sales, look out for the companies doing their usual Black Friday stuff. You know, I can't guarantee that they're going to do it this year, who can? But in the past, the companies have given some pretty good offers on Black Friday, and just generally, you know, summer sale, Easter sale or whatever. They've got to hit their numbers like anyone else. Subscribe to their mailing lists, and that way you will get notified when these sales kind of go live. So to end off our little chat about DJ software, obviously in a minute we're going to go to you guys and girls and we're going to spend some time chatting about what you think about this, which is part of the fun of this. If you're watching the recording, do hang around for that. But just to end off the planned part of today's show, I wanted to talk about where this is all going, because obviously things are changing and they caught me on the hop. So where is it all going? Well, it's definitely going towards subscription. That is a given, right? Serato now prioritizes subscription, as we've seen. Rekordbox is subscription only. Virtual DJ's got a subscription option. DJ Pro AI, subscription only. Only Tractor is holding out the big boys without a subscription model. So that's obviously the way it's going. Cloud add-ons, I think, are the way it's going as well. Cloud is becoming a thing everywhere, and so I think you're going to see more and more, hey, keep your music in the cloud, and they'll have add-ons for that. You know, this doesn't have a cloud music add-on, but it does have cloud music built into it, and you can play from SoundCloud Go, Beatport, BeatSource, Tidal on here. You know, you're paying a subscription for that, and it's going to go down that way as well. And if you think further on from just subscribing to a music service to plug into these kind of things, I think you're going to get packages where they fold that in. There's already one for Virtual DJ, a business like mobile DJ package, where you get everything. You get all the music, you get the lot, and you just pay the money and you plug your gear in and you've got everything you need to DJ. I think we're going to see more and more of that coming in the future as well. So that has been what we wanted to bring you today, and we've got an article coming up on Digital DJ Tips that will go into all of this in even more detail. But what we always like to do before we publish articles like that is get your view on this, see what you think about it. So that's what we're going to do for the rest of today's show. We're going to talk to you guys and girls. We're going to ask you what you think, and your insights and your thoughts are going to be fed into the article to make it as useful as possible for people who come across it on digitaldjtips.com shortly when it goes live. So thank you for watching so far, and let's do that now. Let's go straight over to you guys and girls. I've got, as I'm about to show you now, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments on the screen coming in from you, and I'm going to just scroll through them and I'm going to pick out some of my favorites live. So Roderick says, yes, DJ software is too expensive unless it's cracked. So let's start off there with a little bit of irreverence. Thank you for that, Roderick. So how many people started off on a cracked version of Virtual DJ and ended up buying their DJ software down the line? I know a lot of people did back in the 2000s when I was starting. So God bless you, Virtual DJ, for that. Hello to lots and lots of our regulars here. I always like to try and give you a shout out to John and Luke and JSO B, Keith and Christian, DJ Amp Sounds, GM, Technobeat, and everyone else who's saying hello. And Jorge over there in Portugal, not so far from us here. So if you want to ask a question that is not related to today's topic, which is DJ software too expensive? If you want to ask a question or make a point that's not related to that, that's absolutely fine, but come back on Thursday. Not this week, because we're not here this Thursday, but usually come back on Thursday, which is our open house questions and answer session. Now we're only talking about that, just to give you guys and girls a heads up. DJing was never cheap, says Freddie. That's very true. The price of the music might have dropped because we don't have to buy piles and piles and piles of these, right? But the money's being given now to the software companies. So yeah, you're right, DJing was never cheap, so it's a good point to make. Maybe overall, DJing is not as expensive as it always used to be, even though we are paying for our software. You Don't Like My Music says, hey DJs, good topic, Phil. Thank you for that. People don't want to pay DJs the money they ask for gigs, says DJ D-Max. Well, this is another topic entirely, of course, but what about hobby DJs? What about DJs who are just doing this for fun? It can be harder to justify the cost of your software and your gear and your music and everything else if it's only a hobby. And is the price of doing it pricing people out of the whole DJing game just because they don't want to charge money? They don't want to do anything other than do it for fun. It's a good point. Aussie B says, oh, I've got that. It's a good piece of kit. Yeah, it is a good piece of kit. Now they've improved the effects. It's even better. So yeah, anyway, we digress a little bit there. There's nothing like open source software, says Nexu Jin. So we're talking here about Mix. We never showed you Mix, did we? Let's get Mix up on the screen and give our friends over at Mix a little bit of love. We don't talk about Mix enough, but they are doing the thing for open source DJ software. So this is Mix. DJ your way. Powerful features for all DJs. BPM, key detection, sync, support of DJ controllers, effects, DVS, free and open source DJ software. So you can go and grab Mix for Mac and Windows and Linux over on mixxx.com. Give it a look. You know, even if you keep your main DJ software, why not go and give it a look? You can't do any harm by playing with a free open source package, right? So yeah, open source has always been fun. Subscription is where the money goes, says Anil M. I'm experiencing this with Roland Cloud or streaming. Yeah, Roland Cloud is of course the producer's version, if you like, of DJ subscriptions, where Roland will give you all the patches and plugins and samples and all that stuff, but you have to pay for the cloud there, and it is happening across the world, isn't it? All things are going to subscription. It's not just DJ software. I had Virtual DJ a long time ago, says Seda, when it was free, and then Rekordbox came with the DDJ 400. Yes, but you haven't got the full version of Rekordbox there, you see. You haven't got Rekordbox Creative or Pro, and you might start wanting those features. For instance, Rekordbox Pro is the only place where you can get the new edit screen where you can do your own edits in Rekordbox. So I think they might start putting new features into the higher paid tiers there. Technobeat says, I thought that specifically for Rekordbox and Serato DJ, with each DJ controller they had the license key was already in the box. Well, yes, they will always give you something in the box to let you use your controller because, hey, you've got to be able to use the thing. But as soon as you start wanting to upgrade the features, that's when you start paying the money, and it's not cheap to do that. This is from James. He says there are plenty of places online where a Serato DJ Pro license can be had for £99. Thomann, I think, sell it for that price. I do agree, though, that the NS4FX should have the Pro version included. That's the $500 controller. I would love one of you to share, or any of you to share, cheap places to buy Serato DJ Pro, and we will share them with the audience, because I don't think people with a $200, $250, $300 controller are going to want to pay an extra $300 just to get the full version of the software. So if you can indeed get it for $99, then please share. That was what I thought it cost. In my review, I'm like, well, you know, for $99 extra, you can update it. And I don't know when I saw that or where I saw that, but that was honestly what I thought it cost. I was shocked that it was $299 for a good version of Serato. So for sure, says Christian, DJ software owners tend to increase prices once they've made cool innovations on future updates. Those are business things. And some materials used in updates get more expensive nowadays. You know, if someone is charging subscription, they better be updating the software all the time, right? Because you don't want to be paying over and over again for something that isn't changing. When I started DJing, says Luke, and I was using Serato Lite, I received an email from Serato offering me a lifetime discount for Serato Pro, which is for half the price of the software, for £55 a year. So there we go. There's always different offers going on out there for sure. Lots of you loving this, by the way. This is looking cooler every time I see it, says Jeff. I can't wait to get a unit with decent speakers built in. You know what? I've given these speakers here. This has got speakers built in, by the way, people. I've given these quite a hard time. They're not actually that bad. for what they are, they're actually a little bit better than I've given them credit for in the past. So this is quite a fun unit to use, especially now they've fixed the effects. So anyway, we are talking about DJ software today, people. If you've just joined us, where have you been? We're talking about the price of DJ software. You can watch the replay of this on Facebook and on YouTube. So do watch the replay if you've joined us halfway through, and do ask questions, because we will get to you even if you're watching the replay or indeed the recording or whatever. We'll get to you. We'll answer your questions. That's what we do here. So everything is going up, says Ricky, not just DJ gear and DJ software. Well, that's true. I was trying to buy some kitchen floor tiles today, and there was a notice in the showroom that said all our prices have gone up 12%. We haven't been able to update the catalogue or the prices on the showroom floor yet, but when you get to the counter, we're going to charge you 12% more. So yes, you're right, it's happening everywhere. Craig says anything light, don't bother. You know, the Serato DJ Lite software, if you buy a 4-channel controller, it's going to work with all 4 channels nowadays and all that kind of stuff, but they do disable the things. You haven't got the proper range of loops, you can't record and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Mel says the problem is too many subscriptions, because Rekordbox and then streaming service, and then of course we've all got other subscriptions in our lives as well. It just becomes too much, especially if you're a bedroom DJ. Sergeant Z says, I guess if you make a living DJing, the cost is okay, but if you want to DJ as a hobby, yeah, good luck. Yeah, it's exactly what we're saying, isn't it? Mel, I use Virtual DJ, one-off payment. I've had it for 8 years. Not bad cost over the 8 years and beyond. Yeah, I was saying the same thing with me as well. John says, do it. Go on. Try Traktor. Traktor's $99. It's a cheap piece of software compared to the rest, for certain. So we're talking DJ software today. Is there a big difference between Rekordbox and Serato, says Pavel? No. There isn't. The biggest difference between Rekordbox and Serato is that Rekordbox will also prepare your music so that you can DJ on Pioneer Pro gear, like CDJ 2000s and 3000s, and it'll prepare your music so you can use the XDJ range of gear, XDJ RX3, which is very, very popular, for instance, and that kind of standalone gear. And Serato doesn't have that equivalent. So if you want to play club gigs, you're probably better off going for Rekordbox. But if you want to play on DVS and you want to play, you know, where Serato's heartlands normally have been, USA, hip hop and so on, your friends probably all use Serato, so it's probably a better choice for you. When you buy CDJ 2000 or 3000, I guess, you get access to Rekordbox by way of your serial number for analysing, organising your tunes, etc. Is this unlimited? Can you keep updating it free of charge? It's on a subscription. So if you want anything that isn't in the version that's used for preparing your gear, your music, then you have to pay subscription. There's no way of buying Rekordbox anymore since Rekordbox 6 was released there. Do you get a discount if you already purchase a lesser version? It depends on the platform. Generally, if you're in their mailing list, they'll be sending you discounts to try and get you to upgrade all the time. Traktor is upfront about it. $49 to upgrade from any previous version of Traktor to the new version. One piece of DJ software we haven't mentioned is called DJs. That comes with the Hercules controllers. It's quite promising. Lots of bells and whistles, says JSOB. And it's free, but unfortunately it's only for some Hercules controllers, but thank you for that. I think software subscriptions across the board just make everything that much more expensive, says Jermaine. Maybe I'm old school, I'd rather pay one price and be happy and done. Mel says most basic packages do what 99% of DJs use anyway, so why bother about the upgrade, which is a good point. When you DJ as a business, says E. Sanchez, you should be able to afford these services and expense it as a business expense. Well, yes, but not everyone DJs as a business, of course. So James is pointing out the Serato Key Lock thing. Key Lock is included in Serato Pro. If you want to change tracks to a different key, then you need to get pitch and time. A lot of open source and hip hop DJs just don't use it. Yes, but if you want to lock the pitch of a track and slow it down or speed it up, it doesn't sound very good in Serato DJ Pro without pitch and time. So I think you still need that. But yeah, good point. I mean, you don't need some of the features if you're certain kinds of DJs, and that goes for all DJ software. If you're a mobile DJ, you really don't need most of the features that Pro DJ software's got, so you might be okay with just the basic version as well. So that's very true. Well, I think we're going to slow it down now and just kind of sum up here, because most of your comments now are pretty much repeating some of the stuff we've already talked about here. But do thank you very much everyone for taking part, and lots and lots of love for Mix, MIXXX, which is the the software that we just talked about that's completely free. So if you haven't seen Mix and you want to have a look at it, go to mixxx.com and find this piece of software. It's got to be worth a look, hasn't it, people? Even if you're just curious, because hey, it's free. Other DJs might stick to their current subscription plans, or maybe they might not have any plans to upgrade, says Christian. This is true as well. Hello to Lavender over on Twitch. Hello Twitch fam. In my opinion, subscriptions are better because they support the vendors more. That's a more sustainable business model for software development. Well, clearly someone who's either in software development or understands it there, and I do see that point of view, do see the sympathy there. At the end of the day, subscriptions are a good thing because they keep a steady income for the companies and allow them to plan for the future and invest in advancing the software as well. You know, if everyone was on subscriptions, but there was enough competition, the subscriptions would be priced at a level that were fair and that kept prices down, wouldn't they? So, you know, there's a difference between a $5 subscription and a $50 subscription, isn't there? And Juan blames the Russians. So there we go. So at this point, I think we're going to call it quits today. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, grab a free copy of our book, Rock the Dance Floor. It's the best way to get started in the great hobby of DJing, and it's a great read wherever you are in your DJing. You can buy this on Amazon, you can get it as an audiobook, you can get it on Kindle, you can get it in all good bookstores, or you can get it from there. Come and join Digital DJ Tips, digitaldjtips.com/join. It's free. We give you a copy of the book, we give you a copy of our gear guide, but more importantly, we send you our weekly Tuesday Tips email. It's the sister email to this Tuesday Tips live show, and it'll help you become a better DJ and better DJ producer. It's full of tutorials, mixes, reviews, interviews, and fun stuff from not only us, but all our tutors. Jazzy Jeff, Layback Luke, DJ Angelo, James Hyde, and everyone else. So look, well worth joining, digitaldjtips.com/join. Meanwhile, from me, Phil, here in the studio, thank you for joining us today. We've been talking about, is DJ software becoming too expensive? Thank you for your views. Sorry if we didn't get to you, but come back next week. We're not here on Thursday, but we will be back this time next week with another Tuesday Tips Live. Meanwhile, get good, get out there and make the moments, and I'll see you again very soon.